Welcome back to Let's Talk Business. My name is Maria Medina. I'm your network and business coach. And today we're bringing it local to Orange County. And I'm proud to have a guest that I met at a local networking group. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dr. Ayat Moses. I'm a chiropractor, former physical therapist, and I own Well Adjusted OC in San Juan Capistrano. I work primarily with women who are dealing with chronic pain, tension, or stress from busy, active lives.
When you said former physical therapist, I thought you were going to take an opportunity to be like recovering physical therapist.
No, I love it. I honestly I such a what's the word I'm looking for? Such a respect for physical therapists who do it right. And I didn't become a chiropractor because I no longer believe in physical therapy. It was just for me it was like the natural next step because I was in neuro rehab, fell in love with the nervous system. I attended like this osteopath's course for who did manual things, and he talked about how it affected the nervous system. And then I saw it on my actual patients, and I was like, that I want to learn how to do that. And so I think there's a place for all of us, and we all have a role, and it's beautiful as long as you find a good provider.
And I think that that happens to a lot of us. We're in a particular career, and then things that are happening or things that we're experiencing dictate where we go, which is exactly what happened to me. I was in printing, marketing, and then all of a sudden you're like business coach. Is like, why is that anywhere near associated to printing? And what it was I was having a lot of conversations with people and I was learning about them. And I really enjoyed seeing them succeed by me just saying, hey, this is what I tried. Why don't you try it for you? And it worked for them. And people were saying, well, now can you teach us? Can you teach a class? And that's how I progressed into coaching.
And that's how you got into it.
That's right.
And I think that's such a beautiful thing. I know there are so many people who wake up 5 years old and know they want to be a firefighter. This is what they want, and they stay the course and they do this. And I think there's so much value in like following your heart and seeing where it leads you, because people may not think there's a bridge. Although sometimes I got to stop myself, because like I fell in love with the nervous system. I love seeing how our environment affects everything in terms of our mindset and our bodies and how we express that. And I feel like the next natural course for me is like, oh, maybe I want to study psychology next, like dive deeper into the brain. But you got to stay the course for a little bit, keep doing what you're doing. And then, but there's so much that can happen if you just open yourself up to following your passions and seeing where it leads you.
But I think I've mentioned it before in this series, but my wife, not that she has a rule, but it just sort of happened to her. Like every decade, she had a new career in a different industry in a different area, and I find that it's sort of been happening to me just naturally and just following what I'm doing. So, like you said, just follow to what the external environment and the people around you are saying. But to get back to the episode, so far in your career, what would you say has been your greatest success?
My greatest success, I would say, has been opening the practice and doing it by building it by a relationship and word of mouth practice. For me especially, there was a delay between when I graduated and when I was licensed just because of the pandemic and then immigration. Everything got delayed, right? And I knew I wanted to do this. I knew I wanted to do it my way, but I also had very little kind of overhead, and I didn't have a credit history or anything like that to take out an SBA loan. And I was like, I know this is what I want to do. And I think just building this community around me that supports me and we support each other. Practice is wonderful, but seeing all these other women business owners thrive and how we just support each other has been the greatest success. And I feel like my impact not only on my patients, but on other women business owners in general, but especially women business owners, has really filled my cup, and I'm very proud of it.
I'm so glad that you shared a little bit of that challenge portion, which is our next question. But it's so important to note that a lot of people that as they go into business, there is no training, there is no how to, hey, this is how you open your business in the US. And it's like, okay, you need to get a TIN, you need to get a EIN, you need to have this, you need to have, there is no succinct list anywhere that I could find when I first opened my first business in 2014. We were scrambling at one point, and I'm so lucky that I had my wife because she saw I was struggling because they were asking me for things that I didn't know. I'm like, what is that? Like, what do you mean credit? I still don't have a social, and you're asking me for numbers. Like, what do you mean you need this?
What do you mean?
Yeah. And she saw me with that and she said, you know what? You need a day to just like not even think about. We're going to Disney World. And at the time we were in Florida, we're like, we're going to Disney World. We're like, okay. So we went. And as we were walking through the gates in Magic Kingdom, we got a call and the accountant's like, your tin has just been issued. And I was like, that's all I needed to do. Like step away and things start happening. And I find that a lot of the time that happens with business. So to the question, what has been your greatest challenge so far and how did you overcome it? Or if you're struggling with it right now, how are you overcoming it?
I have it a little bit now, but I think the biggest challenge has been just doing the next thing. And sometimes the next thing is stepping away. I went to school to be a doctor, right? I know how to treat patients. I know how to be a clinician. I know how to be with people. But all the business side of things, I had no idea, especially in the US. I mean, I had a business in the Middle East where I was before, but it's a very different landscape and the requirements are very different. And then even if you do find a list, like one, I did not have that list too. Like get an IT and get file with the Secretary of State. Do all of these things. I didn't have that list. But even when you find that list, like you talk to colleagues and you're like, what are these things? All these other hidden things that nobody really talks about of like building community, figuring out what your impact you want to be, what is your purpose, like how to build a mission. Like in my mind I was like, okay, I find the list, I build the things, I open the door, put out an ad, and people will come. And it's not that simple. There is so much more layers to it. And I think the biggest challenge comes to my mind is sometimes you get these ideas in your head as a business owner, because being a business owner requires a lot of creativity, right? And then suddenly you want to do a million things, and then you also have to do a million things. And it's figuring out like how to prioritize that, but also not getting overwhelmed by it all. And sometimes you just need to take one step, like check one thing off the list, do one thing, be consistent in it. I am getting better at that, but it still creeps up sometimes, you know.
Yeah, and it's hard because once you do pick that one thing and you start being consistent, it's difficult then to let go when it's not working out. And I go through that with a lot of people that I talk to and they're like, when at what point do I let go? And a lot of the time it is data because we are collecting data and we're trying to figure out it's also vibes, it's also gut, it's, hey, this isn't working, this isn't the goal that I was trying to achieve. And I'll always tell it during this series because this is my second YouTube series. My first one was called the Business Book Review and talked about business books and the impact that they had on us, and we sort of summarized it for people. But I wasn't getting out of it was the connection and the story to the person that I was talking to. And I thought, I've been doing this for 6 months. Like, why are people not connecting with it? And it's because I'm not connecting with it. And I launched this one. I said, wow, I get so much more feedback from this. But not only that, who cares if I'm not getting good engagement or people aren't reading the blog? I'm getting what I want from it. And because that also matters, that drives me, that drives what I do every day.
And I think that's really, really important. If you set up things like with your book, I run a coffee and collab group, right? And I did it when I first started. I did it every Tuesday, and I did it just because I was lonely in entrepreneurship. I'm a solo doc, and I'm like, I need other women business owners to talk to about things and do things around and all of this. When I first started, it was every Tuesday, like same time, and then I just now decided, I was like, we're going to do it. We're going to switch it up. It's going to be once a month. It'll be more impactful for the people who come, but also easier for me to manage, you know? And not easier for me to manage in terms of a time thing, but easier for me to manage mentally so that I can show up fully, so that I can be there fully, so I can provide fully and like interact, because you kind of set the vibe for a space that you curate, right? And if it's not serving you, how do you expect it to serve other people? It all starts from you. Like one of my mentors used to say, you have to think of yourself as the primary oscillator in any space that you are curating. So you set the mood, you set the vibe, you set the energy. And if you can't show up fully to it and can't receive something from it, then how can you serve others in it?
That is so key, especially when you're managing a team as well. Not only when you're managing a community, but when you have a team or employees, and people don't realize the impact that if you, as the boss, come in and you have a bad mood, if you're angry, if you're stressed, it literally disseminates to everybody that you touch or have a conversation with, and it's gonna make them stressed, it's gonna make them angry, they don't even know why, because they're just feeding from your energy.
100%. And it shows up in everything, in community, in hiring, even in like with customers, you know? I know for me as a consumer, when I go into a place and I find somebody that feels like their energy is off, like I don't want to do business with them necessarily. And you can feel it, right? Like when somebody's coming at you from like a scarcity mindset or from like this weird kind of mindset, and it puts people off. I think that's just so important in terms of like how you show up for yourself, for your business, for everybody else around you, and in terms of understanding what your role there is meant to be.
Yeah, that scarcity mindset. You can really tell at networking events when somebody's coming from there, and it's really off-putting the moment that you're like, "Whoa, this person's just here to sell everybody."
So off-putting. You're like, I don't, like I don't want to be around that, you know? I don't want it's not just they want to sell everybody, or they come from this energy of like, there's a better word for it, but like of desperation. And I don't want to feel like I'm doing business with somebody in a way that I'm doing them a favor, you know? Like that's not a good way to build up a business relationship, and it's not a way to get people to trust you. Like coming to a sound bath of yours, it's because I want to know that you have this energy that I can leave with something. If I'm hiring you as a financial advisor or as a coach or as whatever, and I believe very strongly that we everybody needs a team. And whatever you do in life, everybody needs a team around them, like for your health, for your wealth, for your business. And so selecting those people in your team, you want to you want to be confident in what they do, and that comes from their confidence in how they present themselves, right?
And you lose a little bit of that confidence in them when they're just taking everybody because of that scarcity mentality, and they're not actually checking, "Hey, is this a good fit? Are we going to be able to work together functionally, sustainably for a long period of time?"
100%. 100%. Couldn't agree more.
We spoke about this a little bit previously, but if there was one thing that you wish you knew before you started your business, what would that have been?
Oh, there's so many things. I think right now, and especially in this economy, I think I was really, really hard on myself when I first started in terms of like how I envisioned success and growth. And I was really beating myself up for not like filling my books within the first month or the first 2 months even. And I felt like I wasn't doing enough, and that I wasn't, almost like I wasn't good enough as a business owner, like I'd failed as a business owner. But now that I'm looking at it now, and especially in this economy, I'm really, really, really grateful that I started slow, that I built slow, and I kept my overhead low. And I think if I could go back and tell like my previous self that, hey, it's going to be okay and you're doing great, I would do that, because I really got in my head mentally about it. And then it affected everything else. Like it affected how I showed up in spaces, right? It affected how I prioritized tasks and what was important to me. Because I felt like I wasn't where I needed to be, which wasn't true at all. Like now, when I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at the things, I'm like, why? What was I talking about? Like, why was I so hard on myself? So I think that's one thing that I would do differently. The overwhelm and like what I was talking about earlier is another thing in terms of like understanding, not getting so caught up that I enter into a freeze mode, and like taking care of my own nervous system first, right? Because when you come at things from like an abundance mindset, when you come at things from a regulated nervous system, you just make better decisions faster, and everything moves easier. There might still be a million things on your list, but it gets done in a more flow state, and you are actually satisfied instead of feeling like, okay, did that, now there's a million minus one things left to do. It's like appreciating every small task along the way can make a world of a difference in terms of how you show up for yourself and for others.
And I think that comes from an alignment. I recently went through a course last year with the Brea Chamber of Commerce. And one of the sessions she spoke about, and she said, pick your 3 to 5 whys. Like, why are you doing why you're doing it? And have those somewhere, like where, but post them on your phone, you make it a background, have it, on your wall, whatever that is. Have your 5 whys, whatever that might be, your spouse, your children, your family, want to travel, whatever it is. And the moment that a decision comes up, if you didn't have those things, it would be so much harder to make that decision than if you do have those things and they're clear and you're like, does the decision align with any of those five? Yes, it does, then it's a yes. No, it doesn't, then it's a no. It makes making decisions so much easier because you have the goal, you have the values, you have your whys and the reasons behind everything that it is that you're doing. And so when it comes to making decisions and prioritizing for your business, you just have to look at your 3 to 5 whys and say, yes, no, what is the urgency? Do I do it now? Do I do it later?
To add on that, my coach is incredible, but she says, know your impact. Like, you know what you do, but what is the impact you want to have? And decide what that is, and then make decisions based on that. So if you know, like, this is the impact I want to have, this is how I want to live my life, this is like for my business, for me, my purpose, right? Because all of us, we have missions and visions. And how many of us actually look at those, reevaluate, and decide if our businesses are in line with that? And so it doesn't come to just that, but like once you know your impact, like you know that you want to help business owners, you want to help women achieve a thing, right? You can decide all of your decisions, like, does this serve that? Am I being true to the impact I want to have when I make this decision for my business? And it changes everything. It makes it a lot easier, because I agree, like, knowing your biggest whys are important. Like for me, it's my husband, my family, my future. I have this like for my personal whys, right? But it is so easy to get lost and stressed about being a provider and being a good mom and being all of these things that are important to you, that it can skew the decisions that you make a little bit, right? And I think when you add impact to that, it can really kind of narrow it down and help you align your values with your priorities.
I love that. Thanks for adding that. I never heard it said in that way. So I really appreciate that because it's true. What type of impact are you trying to make with your business so that you can prioritize the activities that you're doing? Part of being a small business owner is growing professionally, listening to other people, learning from other people and resources. What is one resource you would share with a struggling business owner right now?
Okay, so I'm going to share one. I'm a chiropractor. My coach is a chiropractor. So I'm going to share her podcast. She is the wealthy practitioner, Stephanie Wigner. I listen to her all the time. She coaches all sorts of business owners. You don't have to be a chiropractor. If you're in service, if you are an online coach, listen to her. She's incredible. She's the kind of person that you listen to and you feel this fire light up in your soul. You feel like you are meant for more and you are capable of it because you are. I think she's incredible. Other than that, I honestly think everybody needs a coach. Like in some way or another, coaching has saved my business. It's saved my marriage. Cause like when you get into, I married a W-2, right? And I love him. He's great. He provides stability, but it's really hard when you come from conflicting, like, I'm a business owner, he's not a business owner. We don't speak the same language at all sometimes, but that's okay. And finding a coach that can help you through these things and change your perspective and know like the friction that you'll probably reach in your business and how to solve that is so valuable. And finding somebody that can coach you in both mindset and in systems, that's the beauty where like magical things happen, because mindset is great, systems are great, but you really need both. So that would be like my advice to every business owner, like whatever you're struggling with, get a good coach. It changes you. It really does.
I always tell my clients, especially like if I'm having an onboarding session or somebody's interested in coaching, I say, am I the only coach they are talking to? Because if I am, you need to go and talk to 2 or 3 more because it is a personality basis and kind of treat it a little bit like therapy. If you're comfortable in sharing and being vulnerable with the person that is your coach, then they're going to be able to help you so much more than if you are reserved and keeping information, because that's the moment where you're lying to yourself. So you're not going to be able to achieve the results that you need to achieve. So the more comfortable you are in sharing information and talking with a coach, the better.
Yes, yes. And like, I guess to your point, maybe before you go hire a coach, put in the work to be coachable, Because if you're not coachable, you could throw as much money as you want on an excellent coach, but it won't give you the results that you want because you're not willing to do the work that's necessary. Honestly, also like get therapy. Every business owner needs to be in therapy. It brings out stuff. It really does.
And coaches are not therapists, so that is definitely encouraged from a coach.
Coaches are not therapists. Yeah, coaches are not therapists, but also get like we all need a team. We all need a support system, and yeah, get it.
Both, the whole team for everything. I always like to end this series with a fun fact from my guest speakers. So, what is one fun fact that you could share about yourself?
I think it's fun. It's little. I'm like a crazy plant lady. Like I am psycho to the point that I collect these like rare plants and I love them. And all the plants in my home have a name. I have Fred, who's getting on my nerves right now because he's not listening. But yeah, I name all my plants. That's my fun fact.
I love that because then you can, talk to Fred and encourage him to grow or, hey, like, what do you need, Fred? Like, what do you need from me right now?
You need what's going on? Why are you throwing a fit? Like I gave you all like what is it? Talk to me. I'm here for you, buddy. But yeah, I talk to them and they all have names and personalities.
I love that. Amazing. If anybody would like to reach back out to you, get in touch with you, what is the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, my best way to reach me is on Instagram. I'm at Dr. Ayat Moses. My DMs are always open if you have health related questions, business questions, or plant related questions. I love it. I geek out on it.
Well, now I know that next time I talk to you, I'm going to be asking about Fred to see if he's still giving you troubles.
I look forward to it.
Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of Let's Talk Business. And we'll hope to catch you at the next episode.